The last thing I recall, frappes, that's right. Me and me mate were headed towards Macca's for some of them delicious chocolate frappes. Looking around, you see nothing resembling one of those mouth-watering wonders. What you notice instead is isolation, and the presented situation is an empty theatre. Each empty aisle precedes another, all of which is just visible thanks to dim lanterns scattered around the surrounding walls. In the process of rubbing your chest, you feel something crumpled in your pocket. Struggling through a thick fog, an image slowly appears, someone wearing a neatly pressed suit with white gloves and recently polished boots. Their face, however, you can recall next to nothing, except that of a smile. Any other facial features have all been lost without a trace. It keeps getting weirder. Was it not around 7:30? How did it so rapidly become 11:20? When and where have the hours escaped? Did we come here from the drive-thru? Our Macca's, it's no small distance from our local pitches, but that would still leave a couple of hours missing. Very strange. What are we here to watch again? Seriously though, why'd we get here so early? Seems there's still 20 minutes until the film starts showing. No, that's wrong. If you take into account the ads and such, it's more like 50 minutes. The pitches used to be such an enjoyable outing. It wasn't the environment, although some customers are awfully chatty and messy. Nor was it the cost of movie snacks, though it would be nice if they didn't cost a literal arm and leg. The only thing lacking these days is the movie itself. With modern technology advancing the way it is, you're better off in the home theatre boat. With the screen size and surround sound taken care of, the pitches is left with only one thing: early access, and that one is only good as a gimmick. You wonder where Goodmate's gotten to. The restroom, I guess, or could he be maybe getting some snacks? He'd better get me some. Gonna tax his ass if he doesn't. It's that guy again. Over near the theatre entrance stands the concierge. This startling development wouldn't be so alarming if the room wasn't so dead calm. The concierge grins and begins walking in your general direction. You can't imagine this guy's looking for your ticket, and it seems like a slow night. Maybe they're bored and looking for a chat. That's an odd-sounding voice. What a question, you think. Looking once more through amber light, you happen upon more than one unusual sight. You draw your focus to the seats. They're unlike the worn maroon sofas you'd come accustomed to. They're soft to the touch and have a youthful spring once pushed in. They're noticeably more comfortable and, importantly, aren't crusty in the deeper areas. You survey the rest of your surroundings. It seems like there's less chairs than normal. You don't remember if you've ever been in a theatre as small as this one. It's much more condensed than you used to, like you're being isolated from the rest of the world. The last thing you recognize is the mess. My apologies, the lack of mess. Looking to the left and then to the right, you're surprised a little when you don't see half-empty popcorn buckets and drinks left idle in cup holders. Looking down at your feet, you're also surprised by lack of floor popcorn. Even the smell. You don't think you've ever smelt a theatre that dealt in such strong disinfectants. Looking up at the screen, you notice one last thing. It's your seating position. You're facing the screen head-on without the need to tilt. Being not too close, not too far, the seat you occupy is, well, it's perfect. Got a little lost there. What was the question, mate? Yeah, man, it's spotless. The cleaners here are top notch. Is it that bad, you reckon? That's rough. If it's as bad as you say, why bother? Yeah, right. Fair enough. Oh, by the way, did you see me mate on the way in? Small build, short hair. Yeah, I'd say we're pretty tight. As you're drawn backwards in time, you recall your first day at primary school. Even in your advanced age, you still remember the excitement on that first day, racing out of the car and into the world of the future. The atmosphere surrounding you was a combination of engines, adults, and youths such as yourself. You can't remember if it was the first day, but your primary school memories have always had Jamie attached to them. Together you would conquer the playground, invent innovative architecture for sandcastles, and you'd often race one another, though Jamie was always a step quicker. Of course, not only were you inseparable at school, but also out of it. You'd often hang out together long into the evenings. On one such occasion, Jamie's mother was running late, and together you were in the middle of building the grandest Lego castle ever to grace the land, but you both couldn't come to an understanding over whom should occupy the king's quarters. You argue that since it was your materials in the house, that you should have the greatest share. Jamie, on the other hand, argued that because he came up with the idea, that was reason enough for a greater share. The domestic was then interrupted by the sound of Jamie's father, who came instead to pick Jamie up. Those were the golden days, and great change was soon upon you both. After primary school, you each ended up attending different high schools, but even that couldn't extinguish your long-standing friendship. But as the years waned, so waned the once inseparable fellowship. You know how it goes when people grow. Must have been around year 11 when we truly lost contact, but everything's all good now. Well... Diving deep once more, you take your time organising a simple answer. During early high school, Jamie became wildly popular, probably thanks in part to his quick mind and build. Around year 10, he began applying himself more and more, something you'd contribute to the beginning of the end. As Jamie soared, you remained stagnant. From your perspective, high school was nothing more than a social club. You spent your hours at shopping centres and socialising at house parties. Your meetups with Jamie became less and less frequent, and the majority of invitations were answered with a simple, "Sorry, am busy today." This trend would continue throughout the next couple of years. When graduation was on the horizon, you couldn't help but throw the party to end a generation, but when the night arrived, Jamie hadn't. He'd ghosted you even after you'd begged him to attend. Whatever you thought, fuck him, who needs the cunt? The thoughts revolved into a hole, one in which Source freely entered but could never satisfy. Its magic seemed destined to fail. Eventually, Jamie showed up after most of your other guests had given their farewells, and in your placid state you felt it would be wise to highlight the elephant in the room. Next, a halfway verbal exchange escalates into a light fist fight. Through this exchange, you learn the reason for Jamie's absence. The reason he'd gone to a different school, the reason he was studying so hard. It was his mother. Over the last 5 or 6 years, she'd gotten terminally weaker, passing away not a few hours before tonight. Old friendships are hard to get rid of. I wasn't gonna abandon a friend after one fight. Yeah, quite the arm twister you are, mate. It took years of calls and texts. Only after a couple more years would he see you again, and after the dust settled, you sent him this text. The bargain was struck when we moved in together. That was about, March? It's weird when you think about it. How did events twist and lead into altercation? The answer was easy, but the math never lined up neatly. In late primary school, Jamie's mother was diagnosed with an illness that you could neither pronounce nor understand. Jamie responded eventually, converting any spare time into restless study. You during this period were more concerned with mediocre social issues. Swept up in daytime drama, your relationship begins drifting. Jamie would often be exhausted and found it increasingly difficult to match your inexhaustible pace. Jamie was hoping, you'd be able to sustain a deeper level of conversation. You, on the other hand, were expecting a wingman, a partner in crime, not a buzzkill. With expectation becoming less and less parallel, your friendship begins disintegrating, and one of you would suffer more than the other. Despite your best efforts, you wouldn't really speak to Jamie for another 2 years. When Jamie texted you some 4 months ago, you could feel something was different. When you were looking through the house together, you noticed his face, his posture, and his aura. The old Jamie, it seemed, was long gone. The fun and determined straight-A student had been replaced by a depressing shut-in with a rapidly deteriorating mental state and a slight drug addiction. Wow, I guess I never really said that out loud before. No. We don't have dramas, mate. Jamie never brought it up, so neither did I. Guess I should have talked to him about it, eh? Sure. Wait, what do you want about? Me chest hurts a bit. Doc, what the fuck happened? Why am I here?